Hi everyone, I'm Abhishek. I'm the founder of Careflick, and we are doing this short podcast thing. And today we have Jeff Rose from OATS from AARP. And great to have you here, Jeff. Uh, can you introduce and tell us a little bit about yourself and OATS?
Sure, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us. As you mentioned, I'm Jeff Rose, and I'm from Older Adults Technology Services, or OATS from AARP. We're a 20-year-old nonprofit organization based in New York City, but we're a national nonprofit here in the United States, and we serve older adults across the country a few different ways. We have virtual programs on our website, seniorplanet.org. We have a toll-free national hotline where folks can call and get support with their technology over the phone. We also have a national licensing program where we license our curriculum to nonprofit organizations, senior centers, libraries, and other organizations to teach older adults and communities all across the country. So we love serving older adults and teaching digital skills all across the country here. So happy to be here and chatting with you about AI, Careflick, and everything related to technology.
Thank you, Jeff. Great to have you here. I think we are a lot aligned on, the mission that we have, solving for seniors through technology. And given, we have like an aligned mission, so let's just dive straight to the questions. Let's bust a myth here. People say older adults aren't tech friendly. What's the most common misconception that you hear, and what's the truth?
Well, I'd say older adults are tech friendly. There's a study that AARP releases every year, the Tech Trends Survey, and older adults, 97% of older adults own a device. So that means only 3% of older adults don't own some kind of device in their home. So that just proves right there that older adults are tech friendly. At Oates, we are a social impact organization. So one of the things we believe is that um, people want to learn to use a device for a particular reason. So we have our social impact areas, we have health and wellness, creative expression. So people want to be able to do these things so they can connect with family and friends, as an example. No one wants to learn how to use a phone or tablet or a computer just for the sake of learning it. They want to be able to do things with them. They want to feel connected. It's really important. So the importance of being using tech is to be able to do things, to empower people in their lives to do things. And that's why tech is important. And that's why older adults adopt tech, is to be able to do things with that tech. And it's so important in today's world to be able to do those things to improve the quality of their lives.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Has there been a moment where you have gone like, oh wow, they are ahead of the stereotype?
Yeah, I mean, when I talk to some people and they own more devices than me, or they're the next generation iPhone up than I have, I'm like, I need to up my game when I'm using my technology, because I have to walk the walk and talk the talk when I'm, going to these places and talking to folks to make sure that I'm doing what I'm talking about when it comes to technology adoption.
Exactly right. So I'll share a little story here. Very recently, I was at a community center here in the Bay Area, and I met someone who's 87, and he uses ChatGPT almost every day. And he highlighted two primary use cases that he had that he was very proud of. One, he uploaded his medical prescriptions on ChatGPT, and he was able to find out was there any discrepancy or was there any, double medication that he was taking, and he was able to share that with his physician. And the other is he liked another elderly lady in the community, and he used ChatGPT to write a poem for him.
Hey, I mean, we all want to find that love, that connection out there. It's really important. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's always a good starting place when I'm writing stuff. I want a starting place, and I think using ChatGPT or other tools like that, it's a good way to get things going. So
Yeah.
why not? If it's there, you got to use it.
I think seniors are more creative than we think.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So AI is everywhere now. And in your programs, how are like older adults reacting? Like curiosity, caution, or excitement? What's the adoption curve looking like?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think we have a few different buckets of people, just like you have, your adoption curve. I think we have people like you just talked about in your example there. We have those early adopters who have jumped right in and are using those tools and are pretty advanced in their usage. But I think the bulk of who we have are those people who are really curious about it and want to use it, want to understand it, don't want to be left behind. We talk a lot about, or have talked a lot about in the past, the digital divide. And our goal as an organization is to ensure that doesn't happen again. So we've equipped older adults, we've equipped other organizations with the tools to learn about AI, to teach how to use AI safely. And really, we want to make sure that everyone has what they need to either understand it, to use it, to know what it is, so that doesn't happen. And I think people are coming to us. Our AI classes are our most popular classes. So people are coming to us because they do want to learn.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of it. They do want to adopt it. They want to understand what it is, and they want to know how it can help them. When I talked about technology and using those tools in daily lives to, improve social connection or improve their health, they want to know, how can I use AI to do something for me? It's really that, not only that curiosity piece, but they're looking for help for things. We have this great story of this woman who was having trouble with her bank, and she was able to use an AI tool to help write a letter to her bank to get a speedy response, to get an issue resolved.
Yeah.
And it's stories like this, it's stories like the one you told, that people are hearing more and more, that are showing why AI is such a useful tool in today's world.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, agree there too. I mean, seniors are actually very curious about AI. We did this internship program for seniors. It went viral. I mean, nobody was expecting, okay, we want interns and we want interns who are 60 plus. And families, seniors, everyone was reaching out. Oh, I want to be part of this. I want to learn about what's happening in AI. And during those sessions, seniors were so curious about things like RAG. Okay, tell me more about retrieval augmented generation. How does it work? What does it do? How does it help? The whole workflows and things like that. So it was a very fun session that we did, and very much resonate with what you're saying, that seniors are very curious about AI. So yeah,
Absolutely. And people want purpose too,
exactly.
That's something very important.
And what do you think of, like, what do older adults want AI to do for them? Yeah,
Sure. I was quoting some other AARP research before too. There's some more AARP research around AI specifically, and this came out back in September. But older adults are interested in really practical uses of
yeah,
AI in their lives. So the number one use of AI for older adults was in translation services. So I think one of our most popular programs outside of AI is travel. So older adults like to go places, and if you think about using AI to translate things, maybe you're sending something, you are somewhere, AI has great power to use translation tools. The next step after that was monitoring the home and public safety, using AI for that. Learning a new skill or development,
yeah,
AI can be a great tool to learn something new. After that, fraud, financial planning, and banking. Although I don't entirely trust AI tools with financial planning advice, it can be that great starting point for you for understanding things like,
yeah,
do you know how to trade derivatives, as an example? If you don't know anything about derivatives, AI can be a great teacher for you to learn that new skill, as an example, or learn what a derivative is,
yeah,
as an example. And right under that is health monitoring and diagnostics. And, the example you gave before about that, health example, monitoring prescriptions is just a great thing. Health is something that we all are concerned with, and AI can be a great resource for us to be able to monitor that and to use that to make sure that we're staying on track with whatever is concerning for us.
yeah. And a quick follow-on question to that, like, What's the difference between a nice to have and a life-changing AI for them? What would you say from your experience at AARP?
That's a great question. I think, if you find something that has that effect on you, that has such an impact that you find it so useful that you become a preacher of AI, that it's done something for you that's transformational. I think that moves from that nice to have to the transformational area. And I think it's on an individual kind of case by case basis of what's important to you,
Yeah.
how you use it, and kind of the effect it has on you. So it's an individualized answer, I'd say. It's I can't group everyone into a single answer for that question.
I think that's where AI has to be more personalized for everyone because, again, like you said, every individual is different, with different life journey, with different pain points and different stage of their lives, right? So I think the whole reason why person-centered care works, and that's how also AI should also be able to personalize, what it does for every individual senior out there.
Absolutely, because we all experience things differently and we all interact with technology differently because
Yeah,
we have different needs, as an
yeah.
example. So, yeah.
No, cool, makes sense. And if we zoom out, where do you think AI can most meaningfully support aging over the next 3 to 5 years? Like there are different buckets like loneliness, health navigation, caregiver support, or being more independent. So yeah, yeah. What do you think?
I think that's a great question. I think first off, it can have a role in all of those things. I think one of the things that we're looking at really closely at OATS is the intersection of technology and caregiving, as an example. Caregiving is a hot topic these days. Um, a lot of people are caregivers, a lot of people have been caregivers, a lot of people will be caregivers. But how do we better utilize the tools that we already have, the tools that we will have, how AI can play a role in easing the burdens of the caregiver? I think that's definitely going to play a role here now and in 3 to 5 years from now. But I also see how we're going to be able to better integrate um, AI into robotics, as an example, into our social connection to help that caregiving journey, but also be able to help relieve us and give us a better sense of purpose and being, which all relates into the caregiving space, to the loneliness space, um, the independence space. I think it's all tied in.
Yeah,
I really I think it's going to be a really powerful tool for us because one of the issues that we face now is caregiving is innately human. We need people to be able to do that. But if we can ease some of that burden by using technology,
yeah,
I think it frees up us to do other things. So I think AI plays a big role in that here now and in the next 3 to 5 years.
yeah. No, makes sense. And which of these areas is most under invested today?
I think that's a great question. When we talk specifically, are we talking specifically about AI in their application?
Yeah.
Where can we see the
Or
most
tech,
room
or
for,
tech.
or
Yeah,
tech in
yeah,
particular?
yeah,
I mean, I think for me, I think caregiving is the most underinvested area. I think more people are caregivers than we realize, and caregiving is so burdensome for many, many people. It's such a challenge, and it spans generations, it spans households, and it has such a wave of impact
yeah,
that we can't even measure many times. And I think that there's such a great opportunity for us to harness the power of technology to be able to improve the caregiving experience, to make it better for caregivers, make it better for the person who's receiving care, to be able to make it better for everyone. So hopefully there'll be more solutions to do that now and down the road.
yeah. And any specific area where we should tread with caution or be more careful or we should slow down?
Again, when we go back to thinking about working with older adults, when we think about caregivers, all of that together, it's really technology is built, in my eyes, is built on trust.
Yeah,
And building that trust, harnessing that trust, thinking about privacy and the world around us, I think that's a lot of the conversation. Older adults are more prone to fraud and scams. So folks building products, folks using products, everyone in between needs to understand and needs to maintain and understand how to build and maintain trust and maintain privacy. And one of the things I think we lose a lot when we agree to the terms and use of using a product, we have to use the legalese, the long 30-page documents. It's a standard practice. I understand
yeah,
that, but I think there's opportunities, as an example, for companies to be upfront and say, "Hey, this is how we use your data." Kind of like in
like a
on,
TLDR.
on food products, right? We have the nutrition labels,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, in the world of broadband here in the United States, we have, for now at least, broadband nutrition labels, which kind of breaks down everything. It'd be great if we could have
That's very interesting.
privacy nutrition labels that say this is what happens with your data. Because I don't know if I'm sure you've spent more time in the terms and condition worlds as you've had to with your product, but it's really hard for the average consumer, even me, who spends a little bit more time in that world to understand exactly how your data gets used and where a company might be offering something for free to you,
Yeah,
what you're giving up in return for that, free product. Um, there's an exchange, and what are you exchanging in your data that makes that product free for you to use? So you understand what you're giving up and what they're getting in return. So you make sure it's a fair trade on your part if you're willing to give that up.
yeah, yeah. That's actually a very interesting suggestion.
I
Like
just thought of
how,
that now.
yeah, it's that's something that actually makes sense for, everyone to understand how their data is being used. There should be like a label instead of just, being thrown at like a 5 page or 10 page or 30 page document, which let's be honest, none of us read it. We just scroll to the end of it and just click on accept and just move
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
because you can't use it unless you click accept.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Older adults are concerned with privacy. I'm concerned with privacy. I want to make sure that my data, that what I'm sharing, that what I'm using is private to the extent that I want it to be private. So I think that's going to be number one for me,
Yeah.
especially in the world of scams, right? If I'm,
Yeah.
sharing personal information, and there's a scammer out there who's able to, harvest that information. As an example, if my information's not being kept safe and private, that's a treasure trove of data that can be, turned around and put back on me in a not so good way. So anytime I'm using something, privacy is probably number one for me and number one from what I hear from older adults. And that's really also a barrier to adoption for a lot of older adults for tech tools, not just AI tools, but tech tools too, is the privacy piece. Is they don't want to give up that privacy, so they're not going to use certain tools. And it's also perceived privacy. It might not be that they're giving up their privacy to use a particular tool. They might perceive that, hey, I'm going to use these headphones, but maybe if someone's listening into my headphones because I can't use these wireless earbuds because someone could listen into them, as an example, which is potentially true. But at the same time, it's again perceived privacy. So I think that's my number one.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so you have tried Careflick's AI companions, right? So, what was your first impression? Like, what felt immediately valuable, or what felt like it still needs shaping? Yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I've been working with older adults for a long time, and one of the things that has always been present is our talk around social isolation. So having an AI companion that's looking to solve for the social isolation problem, I was excited for the opportunity to try it out. And my first impression was, excited that someone was looking to use AI for good and AI to help solve for that social connection piece. I got to try out Sarah. Sarah was my first experience, and she was even keeled. She was lovely to talk to, consistent, um, good memory.
Did anything surprise you like about the tone, empathy, or a usability perspective?
I think what surprised me is kind of the depth in which Sarah was able to go and was willing to go.
Yeah.
Um, and I was trying to push boundaries because anytime I try something out, I wanted to push boundaries and to see where she would go or what where the tool can go, I should say, not just Sarah in this particular case, but I my first try is always to stress test something, and she did a great job of kind of steering me back on course or um, making sure I wasn't getting into trouble. So I really appreciated that. So there was definitely safeguards put in place that I could clearly see when I was using the tool, which made me happy because you know you can go in some not so great places with a tool like this. So I was happy to see that there was clearly some good thought intentions as to what Sarah could or could not answer and responses to questions that might have been not so great thoughts. So I appreciated that.
From your OATS lens, where do you see something like this fitting into an older adult's life? Like, is can be a coach, a friend. We are using the word companion, but is there something else that it could be, positioned as, like, or a concierge or something else altogether?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, our goal is to, educate folks about technology, and we tend to teach folks about mainstream technologies, but one of our goals too is to allow people to discover, oh, sorry, what works for folks and, what, oh, sorry, my head, I can answer that question again.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Um, so our goal is to, educate folks about mainstream technology, but also for us to be able to allow people to discover what technologies or what tools can help solve a problem for them in their lives. So I think in this particular case, I really think the friend or the coach or the companion in this case is for them. And there are people we work with a lot of people who are caregivers who are looking for a friend, so I really think educating older adults about what's in the marketplace for them is important. There's a lot of tools that are directed towards businesses, and there's a lot of tools that are directed towards consumers. And educating people about what's on the marketplace, I think, is important for us so people know, hey, do you have this problem? There are tools potentially like Careflick that could be there for you to solve the problem that you might be having. So um, that's kind of what goes through my mind when I talk about Careflick as an example.
And what seniors would benefit the most, like uh, independent or someone who has mild cognitive decline, or I mean, yeah, lonely seniors, but they can be in different setups, like staying in assisted living homes, or staying at by themselves, aging at home, or just independent seniors. So, which bucket do you think would this be most beneficial for?
Sure, I really only have the lens of the independent at home older adult in my
Yeah,
mind, at least from the OATS perspective. So
yeah.
that's what I'll give. And I think this definitely has applicability there. Um, taking off my OATS hat, I do see some, ability towards the mild cognitive decline piece, definitely towards the folks who are lonely and the caregiving piece. But, we serve a lot of folks who are independent at their own homes, and I see a purpose for those folks, and definitely an opportunity for them to take advantage of a new tool that they might find useful in their daily lives.
That would make sense. And yeah, last question. What's one thing that you would want builders and families to remember about older adults and tech right now?
Sure. I think that's a fantastic question. And, wearing my OATS hat, one of the things that I always encourage people to do is to go out there in the world, first off, and talk to older adults and not talk to their family. Um, we at OATS talk to thousands and thousands of older adults every year, and older adults who are using tech, who are learning how to use tech. So first off, you can come talk to us and we can put you in touch with some older adults if you're interested in getting in touch with older adults. But when you're talking about uh, technology, know that older adults want to use technology, want to learn how to use technology, want to be a part of the technology world and the technology experience.
Yeah,
Um, they also don't necessarily want tools that are purpose built for them, but that are tools that can work for everyone sometimes. Um, for example, your tool Careflick can work for anyone who's socially isolated.
yeah,
It's not necessarily an older adult who's socially isolated. So it's a great opportunity to address the social isolation experience. Doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's 60 plus, as an example.
yeah.
So I think that's something important for us to remember when we talk about folks who are building tech. Um, and I always like to get that message out there. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. I think this was a great chat. I'm sure everyone looking at this podcast later on will have a lot to kind of take away from this video. And thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and appreciate the work that you're doing in this space. And best of luck to you as you continue to build your product.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah.